way, we're talking Run a River Hydro, and the newest project is the Kwoiek Creek development being built in the Fraser Canyon between Boston Bar and Lytton. You heard the arguments for it. Let's talk to Joe Foy now from the Western Canada Wilderness Committee. Joe.
Hello.
It's been a while. Thanks for coming out. Do you support this project? You're against this project? Where are you on it?
Well, I think we need to stop this project right away and every other run-of-river project that hasn't yet been built.
What's wrong with this one?
Well, this project may be one of the better ones for all I know. The problem is we don't know because our government in Victoria has shut down the BC Utilities Commission's ability to tell us what's going on. The Auditor General has just told us that the Environmental Assessment Office no longer monitors the promises made by these companies. So what we get is environmental impacts that are not monitored, and we get, well, in 2010 we were paying $500 million for power we don't need and can't use, have to sell at a loss. By 2014, that'll be $1 billion every year. We need to stop these things now.
Okay, this project has been studied up the yin-yang since the 80s. It's been approved by all these various levels of government. I just spoke to the chief of the Kanaka Bar Indian Band. This is their traditional territory. They say they're happy with it. There are no spawning salmon in that creek. It's going to bring jobs to a community with 99% unemployment, Joe.
Well, we're not.
What's wrong with that?
We're not talking about a mill here. We're talking about once you put that river in 7 kilometers of pipes. Once that's done, all you're going to hear is a whir of moving equipment as the pockets of every ratepayer in the province are drained because we're paying far too much for power we don't need. And this has been a scam that's gone on since the early 2000s. As I say, by 2014, you and I will be paying $1 billion a year. And that will either...
Where are we supposed to get the power then?
British Columbia already has more than enough power than we need.
Well, we're one of the fastest growing provinces in Canada. Where are we going to get that? We need more power.
Well,
you telling me we're not going to need more power?
There's way more cost-effective ways. Retrofitting our existing hydro dams. Those hydro dams that we already have, very cost-effective power. I mean, we heard today that this power will cost us somewhere around $70 per megawatt hour. We actually don't know what it'll cost us because we're not allowed to see the contract. We can get hydropower during spring freshet at sometimes $4 a megawatt hour. This is a tremendous waste of money. And
well, hang on a sec. Are you saying that if BC Hydro built this stuff, it was totally public sector, we could build it any cheaper?
Well, BC Hydro wouldn't build run-of-river.
Why not?
You're building them far up these little streams. You're impacting various populations of fish and wildlife. It's a failed technology. The only reason we're building it is it's a way for private corporations to drain the wealth out of BC Hydro.
What? How could you say it's a failed corporation?
It's a failed technology.
A failed technology if it's going to provide power for 20,000 homes, right? I mean, that's a lot of power on a river. Hang on a river that doesn't have any salmon in it, and the native people who live on that river are totally fine with it.
There's not a single home.
How is that a failure?
There's not a single home in the province that's dependent on this power. We already have more than enough hydroelectric power for now and into the foreseeable future that we already have the rights to power every single home and business in this province.
Is BC Hydro a net importer of power?
No, it's a net exporter of power and has been for many years. We have a treaty with the Americans, the Columbia River Treaty, where we're entitled to almost a Site C whack of power, hydroelectric power that we don't take. We continue to export it for dollars because we have more electrical energy that we could possibly use.
Okay, that's amazing, because if you check BC Hydro's annual reports, and I've checked it, I've read it, it says we're a net importer of power.
Well, British British Columbia is not a net importer of power. There's a number of power producers within the province. In fact, we end up producing more electricity, have the rights to more electricity if you take into our Columbia River Treaty than we could possibly use.
Okay, Joe, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk more about this. I want to hear what you think about it on the open line. So phone me up and have your say. 604-280-9898. Toll free 1-877-399-9898, star 9898 on your cell. Your calls are Run of River Hydro. That's next.
You're listening to CKNW News Talk 980.
Okay, here we go with your calls on Run of River Hydro. This is the newest project in BC. They just started building it. It's called the Kwoiek Creek project in the Fraser Canyon. They plan to have that online in 2013. It's a big project. Joe Foy is opposed to it. He says we should shut it down. They just started building it. He's with the Western Canada Wilderness Committee. 604-280-9898 is the number to call. Let's go to Claire. Hi.
Hi, Joe Foy is correct. In the middle of the night, PowerX sells all kinds of power into the U.S. grid. In the annual report of BC Hydro, there is no accounting for PowerX. We also export all kinds of power south of Trail.
Yeah, we sell power back and forth across the border.
We are a net exporter.
To make money.
We are an exporter of power. We don't need run-of-river projects.
Hey, Joe, we sell that power, like under the Columbia River Treaty, for example, you're talking about.
Yep.
We make a lot of money on that.
Well, yes, we do.
How much do we make?
Well, we make a ton of money.
How much?
I don't have the numbers. Lately, however, we've been losing a ton of money. Former Hydro President Dave Cobb in the Sun just this summer was saying if we don't change being forced to buy from these run-of-river projects, it would cost. It's going to cost us hundreds of millions of dollars per year that we would be spending of our ratepayers' money with no value in return.
It would cost us hundreds of millions of dollars a year, Joe, if we took all that power back under the Columbia River Treaty and selling it to the states.
Right? That's right. But
so how many surgeries would you have to cancel to make up for that?
Good grief, man! We would be bringing it back at far lower cost to us than what it would cost for Kwoiek Creek. The cost of the Kwoiek Creek power, which, by the way, is intermittent power. In the wintertime, it all freezes up and you hardly get any of it. So we're paying an obscenely high rate of cost for power that's very low-quality power. That's what would
it's cheaper than Site C.
Cheaper than Site C?
It's cheaper than Site C down.
Well, going forward with Site C when we're awash in electrical energy right now is also an insane.
You're opposed to that one too.
$10 billion put on Site C. You know, we support, the Wilderness Committee supports public power, but we don't support foolishly overbuilding, because many jurisdictions have done that now and are now in deep, deep financial problems.
Okay, let's go to Owen on the open line. Hi, Owen.
Yeah, Michael, Barry Penner said that there's some projects that should not be approved, because, fish habitat and whatnot. And I read in an article yesterday, there's a hockey player, I can't remember his name, he plays for the Kings. Anyway, he's champion. There's a creek up on Vancouver Island called Kishok, I think it's named. Anyway, they're going to build a run-of-river power up there on that creek. He's going to champion against it because there's steelhead that go up there, and yet the BC environmental people approved it. Now they're waiting for DFO, which is a useless organization because it's so politicized anyway. So he's wrong in that respect. They do approve projects that are damaging.
Well, look, you can't. I've never said you should build these things willy-nilly and put them anywhere. Obviously, some projects are not appropriate, like that Pitt River project that they shut down a few years ago, Joe. We've only got 30 seconds. It's crucial where these things are sited. Now, you proved to me that this Kwoiek Creek has got spawning salmon in that creek that are going to be hurt by this project.
Not arguing that
they don't.
What the gentleman is talking about is Kwoiek Creek on Vancouver Island. It's got a summer run, steelhead run, It's got salmon, a number of species of salmon. They want to divert 7 kilometers of that river. This whole program of run of rivers is absolutely out of control.
Thank you, Joe. We are out of time. You know what? We'll have to come back to that one. If you didn't get through on the open line, phone the listener line, 604-696-2784, 696-2784. My thanks to Joe Foy. Stick around.